Day 2 of Ravens OTAs, and we got to see Lamar Jackson. And afterwards, some of the Ravens spoke to the media, especially one Mark Andrews, for the first time. And today we finally got to hear and see Mark Andrews speak for the first time since the AFC Divisional loss, and this is what he had to say.
It's tough, as someone, this is my life. I put a lot of work into this, and everything I do is kind of focused on that. Everything I think about is focused on that, and so it wasn't the way that I'd planned it, and but that's all part of the story. I've been using it, and I've had an incredible offseason, and I'm excited to show what I can continue to do and continue to prove myself and step up in big moments. And that's the thing about sports, is it doesn't always fall your way, doesn't always go your way, but it's how you bounce back. Really just surround myself with good people, not look at the outside noise, and look myself in the mirror, obviously, and just know the type of player that I am, know the type of work that I put in. And as a professional, it's all about being able to move past it, but storing that in the memory bank, and understanding that this is not the end. This is something that I'm going to work with. I'm going to get better and improve and move on.
Now, for me personally, it is not about the drop. It's not about the fumble. It is about that he was a captain on this team, and he ducked and dodged the media for as long as he did, instead of standing up and being accountable for his actions. Now, Lamar Jackson, Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, all of these other guys had to face the media during a very emotional time of just losing a game and having to come out and speak about why they didn't perform well, why is it the same things, and then have to answer a question about Mark Andrews. Something that he should have been a man and did himself. Now, he did say that he's going to come back. This is his job. This is his life, and he's going to be better than ever. And that's cool. And I hope that he does. And I pray that he helps the Ravens win a Super Bowl. But as for last year, being a leader on his team, being a guy that Isaiah Likely, who spoke about today, looks up to. This is not professional. This is not professionalism. This is not how you go about. Now, if you'd have caught the game-winning touchdown, you'd have damn sure been out in front of the media that day talking about, I'm just doing my job. I'm just here trying to help the team win. You'd have been there during the good time. If you can stand up during these points, you have to be able to stand up during the bad times. This is what life, this is what football is all about. You accept the good, you accept the bad, and you take responsibility.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. The facts of life.
Football is back, and I could not be more excited about this. The Ravens entered day 2 of the OTAs, and Lamar Jackson has picked up where he left off from last season. In 11 on 11 drills, they say Lamar Jackson went 10 for 11, with the only incompletion being a drop. So Lamar is looking as sharp as ever. Being that this is going to be the third year in the Todd Monken system, we think that Lamar is going to be as sharp as ever. He's not going to have to think as much. He can just play off of instinct, knowing the plays like the back of his hand. The rest of his teammates are going to follow his lead, and if he's coming into OTAs looking this good, watch out for the rest of the NFL. And if you missed anything yesterday, we got the first glimpse of DeAndre Hopkins in the Baltimore Ravens uniform, going out there catching everything thrown to him. A lot of people were not happy with the signing of DeAndre Hopkins, but as a number 3 option, we could do a lot worse. We could still have to deal with all that Nelson Agholor brought to the table.
He was catching them, unlike Agholor and his mishaps. I like to put that out there.
So all of the Raven stars seem to be in attendance for the most part. The Ravens are gearing up to win a Super Bowl, and we need everybody to be locked in, laser focused on what they are doing. Like I said in my last video, hopefully these practices are going to build that camaraderie, that cohesion that's going to help the Ravens get over the top, because the Ravens have a daunting task when it comes to the first 6 weeks of the season, playing 5 playoff teams. They need to be ready, being that in the preseason, they are not going to get a lot of action with the starters. So the OTAs, the mandatory mini camps, the training camp is going to be paramount for the Ravens to get things together. And then we also got some news that the Ravens are going to have joint practices with the Indianapolis Colts and the Washington Commanders. For me, I don't think this could be any worse. First, you have the Colts that left Baltimore and went to Indianapolis on that snowy night in 1983. Then we have the regional, I don't want to call them rivals, because when we play them, we beat them, and they have not been prevalent in about 30 years or more, possibly. So 2 teams that I could not care less about, but the Baltimore Ravens do need to get in some work, get in those repetitions versus someone other than themselves, other than guys that know what's going on. Because once you start to see a guy each and every day, you start to learn a little bit of his tips and his tricks, and you catch on, and you don't really get productive because the repetition is what you're learning. You're not learning players, because when you go into a season, you're not going to be playing players that are going to be doing the same things over and over. So these joint practices, if cooler heads can prevail, will be very beneficial. And the last time we had a joint practice with the Washington Commanders, a couple of Commanders got beat up, tossed around like rag dolls. So hopefully we won't have any of these skirmishes, because we need these reps, we need this practice for the Ravens to be sharp as they can be when the season starts. And one of the guys that seems to be sharp and locked in is Odafe Oweh. Yes, that Odafe Oweh, who's had an up and down career with the Ravens, but he came in, and from what they say, he is looking yoked. They said he came in shape, and he's added on another 20 pounds, going from 245 to 265. And his thing was, he got pushed around a little bit during the Buffalo Bills game, and he wants to be able to stand his ground, hold his own when the time comes during the season. But to me, sometimes can adding too much weight be a detriment to you? For Odafe, we shall see. The biggest concern is he going to be too heavy? Is he not going to have that same burst that he had last season? Now, last season was the first season that Oweh had 10 sacks. He reached double digits for the first time in his career. And if he does it again, he is looking for a commanding payday. But the biggest concern for me is 2 seasons ago when he bulked up. And the problem to me that Odafe had when he was a little bit bulkier was, it wasn't his speed. It was he was stiff coming off the edge. He couldn't dip his shoulder. He couldn't get around people. Like, he just didn't have that bend that he had last season when he had a career year. So as long as he maintains that dexterity, as long as he's able to bend and dip around that corner, the weight shouldn't matter, because when you're 265, that 4.3 speed, even if he loses a little bit of it, he's still going to be one of the fastest ends in the NFL. And I know there are many out there wanting Odafe to succeed, but in reality, how much do we really want him to succeed? How well do we want Odafe to do in 2025? Do we want him to get another double-digit sack season? Yes, I mean, for his money-wise, because we want players to get all the money that they can. But if Odafe has another double-digit sack season, is he going to command a contract that's going to price him out of Baltimore? He's already making $13 million on his 5th-year option, and when it comes to premium pass rushers in the NFL, they do not come cheap. And there are teams throughout the NFL that will overpay for talent, especially when your last 2 previous years were your best year. We all know that the New York Jets will sell their soul for former Baltimore Ravens players. So Odafe, do your thing. Ravens maybe looking to giving him an extension before the season starts, or early on during the season, because if he starts to get on the roll and if he starts to get hot, that is another salary that we have to account for going into next season, knowing that we do not have the money to sign each and everybody. So one of our favorite players, one of mine, one of yours, somebody's favorite player is going to fall through the cracks and be signed by another team. And dealing with signing with another team, this takes me to Zay Flowers. Some news that kind of went under the radar yesterday was Zay Flowers signed with new representation. He signed with a new agency, and what does that mean for his future as a Baltimore Raven? The guys over at Lunch Break Hot Take have always asked the question, what would you pay for Zay Flowers? If he were to become a free agent, would you give him that $26 million wide receiver 1 money? And what's going to happen with this new representation? Because that new representation represents the likes of some people like Joe Burrow, who got a record-setting contract. And I don't think that Zay's going to ask for the $34 million that the upper tier wide receivers are going to get, but he is a step or two below them where he can command $24 million a season. And we all know throughout the Ravens' history, they have not valued wide receivers like that, nor have they ever paid a wide receiver anything close to market value. So when Zay Flowers comes up for a contract extension, which he will be eligible for at the end of the 2025 season, what are the Ravens going to do? And you know me, like I said, kid, go get your money, get as much as you possibly can. But being the first wide receiver drafted by the Baltimore Ravens to make a Pro Bowl as a wide receiver, being the first rounder to hit 1,000 yards, maybe he's somebody that we would like to keep. And then when you start to think about adding the contracts of the Odafe Owehs, restructuring Lamar, getting Kyle Hamilton, getting Tyler Linderbaum, what are you going to do with Kyle Van Noy? Like, there are so many key components to the Ravens that they have to get signed, that when Zay Flowers is up for his turn, what are they going to do? We all hope that loyalty plays a large part in what these players are going to do, but you just never know. The Ravens have not had many instances of players holding out because of contracts, but you never know with this new generation who's going to say, you know what, I've outperformed my draft status, I've outperformed this rookie deal. I know that my contract is not up, but you need to give me the money that is compensatory to the play that I'm giving out there on the field. So hopefully the Ravens can figure a lot of these things out, because they have a lot of fiduciary moves that they need to make over the next couple of seasons. And hopefully they get these things right. And last but not least, Darius Washington had successful surgery, and speaking to the media, he told people that, listen, I am going to heal faster than you think that I am. I am going to play this season. I should be back by November, early December. Maybe he can, maybe he cannot. I just don't want him to rush anything, come back too soon and get re-injured again, because he is only on a 1-year deal, meaning that after this season, he is going to be a free agent. So don't rush back. Don't try to get here. I understand you want to be with your guys. You want to be a part of what's going on, especially if the Ravens are making a run towards the Super Bowl. You want to be a part of that. You don't want to just get a ring being a bystander on the sidelines. But what you cannot do is hamper your future earnings trying to rush back, because we all know that the NFL stands for not for long. If you haven't done anything for a team lately, people and teams tend to forget about you and all of your contributions. So get healthy. Worry about next season. Don't worry about this season, because it would be a Wolverine-esque comeback if Darius can come back during the season. All right, appreciate you guys. If you like what I'm doing, make sure to hit that like button, make sure to subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you are aware when I come out with new videos. We are 40-something subscribers away from 6,800, and I'd appreciate if you help me get there. Also, we got some new things going on with the Patreon, trying to make it a little more business-like and help out the patrons a little bit more than I have been, be a little bit more active. Just come on over to patreon.com/ROUG, become a patron for just $5 a month. It is greatly appreciated. It helps support this channel. It helps me buy better equipment. It helps me do more things and make even better videos. But if you do not, least you can do is just like and subscribe, and I'd appreciate that as well. So until next time, I'm out.